NFL Live, we have got a packed hour ahead. The wide receiver market has been reset again. A record deal agreed to between Jackson Smith and Jigba and Seattle. We'll talk about that. And Notre Dame's Pro Day. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, two of the top running backs in this class. Field Yates tells us why we might see an all-time NFL draft first there. Plus, linebacker Levante David for the Bucs, 14 seasons in Tampa. He calls it a career, but he joins us around the corner. We've got a stacked hour ahead. Field Yates,
we're here.
Mel Kiper Jr., Tim Hasselbeck, Phil Murphy. Adjust your fantasy lineups accordingly. And the thing is, Field, that the sport has no off season. We're going to be heating up just between your last two mock drafts. We had what? Opening of free agency, a blockbuster NFL trade. Denver doesn't have a first-round pick anymore, and things are only going to heat up over the next month. We are 30 days from the opening of the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, and to celebrate the big 3-0, we got a man who looks like he's in his 20s.
I will take that, Phil. You have been promoted. I'm not sure to what, but congratulations.
Field Yates released his new 2-round mock today, an early pick that jumps out, Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love falling to the Commanders at pick 7. And I say falling too because he's number 2 on Field's big board. And per Bill Connolly, Love's Irish will rank number 1 in returning production for 2026. Ton of outbound talent too. They're bench pressing, they're jumping, they're running. NFL scouts are all posted up in South Bend today for Notre Dame's Pro Day. Field, let's start though with Jeremiah Love, and I mentioned it. He's number 2 on your big board, available to Washington at 7. Take us through the thought process of how that happened.
Yeah, the question that Tennessee at number 4 and the Giants at number 5 has to ask themselves is how much are they going to value positional value? When you think about teams that have won at the NFL at the highest level in recent years, the Seahawks just won the Super Bowl with Kenneth Walker III, a second-round pick, playing in the final year of his rookie contract, and then had Kenneth Walker III depart in free agency. Does Tennessee or do the Giants feel like they are far enough along in their roster-building process they're going to use a premium pick on a player that plays a non-premium position? Meanwhile, the Commanders at number 7 this offseason have really beefed up their pass rush, specifically with the additions of Odafe Oweh and also Caleb on Chason, can say to themselves, 2 years ago, we were playing in Philadelphia for a shot to go to the Super Bowl, Phil. You pair Jeremiah Love, clearly the most explosive player in this class, with Jaden Daniels in an offense that last season really got stuck in the mud, in part because Jaden Daniels was not fully available for this team, would all of a sudden have a chance to become a strength once again. I think every team in the NFC East feels like the division is a little bit more winnable. I think the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys should feel going into the year like this division has a chance to be theirs for the taking. Jeremiah Love would certainly help this Washington offense.
You heard me talk about the field of the offensive line and the wide receivers and the tight ends and all the positions, and we talk about, hey, where could teams go, right? Don't take a running back in the first round. Take a running back who can catch the football in the slot or wide, who's multi-dimensional over everybody else. So that running back philosophy goes by the boards when you got a Jeremiah Love. But watch this kid throughout his career at Notre Dame. He doesn't fumble the ball. He is a fear factor player. And that's something Jaden Daniels will have next to him, and that will be something defenses really have to worry about. So you can talk about all the other positions, say, hey, Kiper, you said go that route. Don't take the running back. This kid is special. And you'll talk about the game-breaking ability he has as a runner, how dependable, reliable he is, and how multi-talented he is. For the Commanders, Adam Peters, where was he? He was with the 49ers. They had Christian McCaffrey, right? Now you bring Jeremiah Love to Washington with Jaden Daniels looking to revert back to that rookie form when he almost had him in the Super Bowl, right? Jeremiah Love is much more than just a running back. He is a big-time offensive talent and a fear factor player.
And Tim, if you look at the teams picking ahead of Washington, right? If you're picking in the top 6, you got a few needs. Do you think Love will be available for Washington at 7, or will he go earlier?
I think there's a decent chance he goes earlier. You mentioned the Titans at 4 and the Giants at 5. Certainly teams that, when you look at them, could they go other positions? Sure, they could. But I think you also look at those teams and you say they have a young quarterback. And so, one of the ways, you can try to help your young quarterback is, you can build the offensive line. Sure, you can do that. But how about get him a running back? And to Mel's point, not just a guy that you can only use one, way. I think if you find a running back that is in the caliber of Saquon or Bijan, guys like that, or Christian McCaffrey, where you go, wait a second, we can have this guy touch the ball over 20 times in a game. Nothing helps a quarterback as much as that helps a quarterback. And so I could see, in a position that's been, quote unquote, devalued in the National Football League, I could see Love going that early because of the impact a rookie running back can have on an offense, just based on the volume in terms of touches and impact that he can have on an offense.
For all the great two-headed college running back systems we've seen, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Cadillac, Williams, Ronnie Brown, hell, Pony Express at SMU. Never before in the Common Draft era has one university had two running backs going RB1, RB2 in a given draft. Debate Love and Price, but the price you have, Notre Dame could be the first.
Yeah, this sounds like we're about to see some history on April 23rd and 24th, most likely.
It's a big day for Fields, both Gates with his latest mock, and on campus, college football field, pro days, Notre Dame, Texas, Louisville, Auburn, 9 of them across college football today. Big-time programs all over Fields' latest mock. And among them, the Plains. Big-time programs there. What more, Field, can you tell us about Auburn edge rusher Keldrick Falk?
He came into the season, Phil, thinking he could be a top 5 overall pick in the draft. 6'7". He's 276 pounds. He's got great arm length. He checks all the boxes in terms of physical measurables. But he had just 2 sacks this past season after 7 as a true sophomore back in 2024. Now he's got some positional versatility. He can play on the end. He can play lined up over the center. Those big arms get in the way of passing lanes. That being said, you watch the tape last year and you're saying to yourself consistently, we want more. We never really got that.
Mel, Field mentioned it. This kid's the size of a small forward. Weighs 276 with positional versatility. Do you like Falk to San Francisco at 27 where Field has a mock?
At that point, you got to like the pick. You're basically betting on the talent. You're taking that leap of faith that this talent's going to shine through once he's coached up in the NFL. He's a great young man. Phil talked about his versatility. I tell you, he backs passes down. He didn't get the sacks. He didn't get the pressures that he had in 2024 where he was productive. 24, Teron Crawford was a better player this year for Auburn in terms of production across the board, right? But that's your ultimate LTP or Keldrick Falk. He looks the part. There's not a defensive line coach in the NFL isn't going to look at that young man and say, I can get him to 10-plus sacks in the NFL. So for Keldrick Falk, if he does get down that far, the only reason is the lack of great production. Because going into the season back in August, we thought he'd be a top 5, top 10 pick guaranteed.
And Mel, if you're talking upside, assessing upside, age matters. Falk doesn't turn 21 until September. Let's head up I-65 to Louisville. Wideout Chris Bell's pro day already underway. Field, late season ACL tear for Bell. Where do you see him landing?
Tricky player to place because of that ACL tear, but I have him going in the second round of the Los Angeles Rams. 6'2", 222 pounds. Keep in mind, for the Rams, they got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So they need a wide receiver to win meaningfully this year? They do not. But if any team can afford to be patient with the player, with this kind of upside, it will be the Rams. Worth noting that on the day that we found out that Chris Bell tore his ACL, I had a mock that dropped. He was picked 32 at the time of the Denver Broncos. Big-time talent. The Rams get a discount here.
Tim, you played quarterback in this league. With LA's team needs and what Bell does, do you like the Rams going wide receiver toward the back end of round 2?
Well, I do think, Field brings up a good point in terms of, the value, not needing him, immediately. So it is, I think when you get to picks 22 and beyond, you're kind of talking about luxury areas for teams that are good, which the Rams certainly are. So, and then when you look at just the investment at the wide receiver position that you have currently at the Rams, nobody there that's on their roster was a high-round draft pick at the receiver position. So I do think that you need to go in cycles where you need to start investing higher picks at certain positions where you've maybe just outpaced the market with getting Puka in the 5th round, signing an older veteran player like Devontae Adams. So I don't hate the idea because the need's not immediate, but at the same time you get the value and eventually you are going to have to invest in the position.
Yeah, and if the knee's healthy at 6'2", 222, more than 17 yards per catch as a junior, at worst, that is enviable depth that Matt Stafford won't mind having. Never a bad reason to head to Austin. Texas also holding its pro day today. Field, linebacker Anthony Hill. Where do you have him?
41st overall, the Cincinnati Bengals, who desperately need linebacker help. 17 sacks, 7 forced fumbles over 3 seasons for Anthony Hill. An explosive athlete. The biggest question mark, is he more athlete, or is he sort of this football processor, like a guy like C.J. Allen out of Georgia, who had going 7 picks prior to this? But you cannot deny the production. He came into this past season with hopes of being a first-round pick. Not sure he gets there, but definitely a player that would help address what I believe is a desperate need for the Bengals still after a busy offseason.
And Field, you have him going 41st overall, so it's not entirely out of that first-round window, right? 9 picks after that. Mel, year 2 with Al Golden at DC and Cincy. Do you agree with Field? Bengals going linebacker here?
Defense. They got to go defense. I don't know about the position. I disagree with Field. I think their off-ball linebackers have some talent. There's young kids, and they got better as the year went along. Anthony Hill Jr. is a talented football player. I think when you look at late first round, it's in play for Anthony Hill Jr. If he gets down this far, sure, he's worth consideration, but so will be safety and the defensive line, edge rusher, all those areas the Bengals need to upgrade. When I think they will think their field are okay at off-ball linebacker going into this draft.
Yeah, but for Cincinnati's defense, it's been more embarrassment and embarrassment of riches. You got a linebacker, 4.51, 47 forced fumbles in 3 seasons. Not a lot of defensive coordinators turn that one down. New on NFL Live, new Falcons QB Tua Tagovailoa met with the media today for the first time since he moved to Atlanta.
Last year wasn't the best year for me, and I'm looking for a fresh start, but fresh start in the sense of being able to compete, being able to go back out there and playing good football, and I think the best football is still ahead of me. You got Yak and Kyle Pitts. You can throw it in the vicinity of Drake. Drake's going to catch it. You got a back like Bijan, and you got the play action game to work off of that to get these guys the ball. All in all, I think it can be really dangerous.
So it's Michael Penix and Tua leading that Falcons QB room. Tim, on paper, you see the rationale. Lefty